got some schools so stupid they give kids contract, but they're still here. Ncaa, y'all gotta do something, man.
Oh wait, I ain't got no more competition.
Giving a wide receiver no $2 million, man, in college. Nah.
Deion Sanders is a trailblazer, so much in fact that he inspires other coaches and I think invigorating other coaches to make some of the change that he aspires to. Look, Deion Sanders is not pulling any punches. He's calling out Virginia straight to their face, letting them know that they're tampering. So we're going to go deeper in on that, as well as hear from Fran Brown's, to be honest with you, hilarious comments about NIL, about a receiver he would want to pay a bunch of money. And then, of course, hear Deion Sanders, a little bit of comments about the portal, about some tampering and other things like that. Man, let's hop right into it with this. I think this is going to be an iconic clip if we go from a year now. Let's see.
Call got over the bag. What call that? What's the school? What's the school over there? Virginia, what camera? Virginia. Virginia, you got to stop. I let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it. Hold him up. Come on now. Come on.
Come on. We already talked about this when we talked about the Cash Cleveland video, but this video is specifically about, NIL and stuff, and we're going to go to Fran Brown. So I want to take a little more time here because there was a number that was thrown out, and some people said 50K, some people said 300K, some people said there was a name on it. But I think the more important thing that I need to understand here, or I think that you need to understand, is look, Deion Sanders knows that there's cameras. Cameras have been following Deion Sanders around since he entered NFL, right? So he knows that whatever he says, somebody is monitoring, is going to have it. So don't think it was I'm doubling down or whatever, because you saw when Bucky put the camera down, he was like, hold up. He said, let me double check, make sure it's good. And then Bucky probably was like, oh no, keep the camera rolling. This is why you're here. In all seriousness, this sparked a bit of a conversation about what might have happened to Isaiah Augustov. Now, as I'm recording this video, he has not landed any place, but from what it seems like, now again, take this with a grain of salt, like the big chunk of grain of salt. This is one of those Colorado, stand pages, XYZ, so they report and aggregate some stuff. Now, what he's saying is that he DM'd or knew someone who DM'd Augustov, and he confirmed that $500,000 was promised to him by Virginia. Now, to be realistic, I don't know why Virginia would be offering a running back who totaled, I think, 400 something yards, $500,000. But then again, I know nothing about Virginia, and I watch a lot of college football, so that probably is the reason for that. I have no idea what's going on. The Hokies, that's Virginia Tech. Sorry, I don't even know what y'all are. The Cavaliers, I get them. See, that's the problem. Michael Vick and Tyrod Taylor really just sucked the wind out, and Pat White, West Virginia. Yeah, it's too many Virginia schools. But with that being said, do I think this is 100% true? No, I don't think this is 100% true. I think it's dumb money to offer who would be, I would think, a second stringer that much money. But I could be very wrong. I'm not getting these deals. And the level of inflation, I'll call it, that has been, that's what it is. Inflation that's happened over these last 4 years of the NIL has been beyond exponential. So, it's easy to see how somebody could look at it that way. Last thing here, before we get into, not last thing, but before we get into deeper the Deion Sanders conversations and Fran Brown conversation, is actually a DB speaking on his loyalty to Colorado.
What is it like as a student athlete in 2025 when we bring up the topic, the transfer portal? Is that something that guys talk about in the locker room? Is it whispers? Hey, what are you thinking, around this day? Take us behind the curtain a little bit with what that experience is like to be 18 to 22 years old and talking about that possibility.
It's a tricky topic right there. From my point of view on the portal, majority of kids, when they see someone go out there and throw a few 100,000 at them, they'll jump at it immediately. So, just me personally, I just have so much loyalty to this program and stuff like that. Everything that Coach Prime has done with me since I was a kid, since I was a baby, Coach Mathis, Coach Hart, what I'm saying? So my loyalty is just so strong here. I don't think it's a number out there that could really get me to lead in that.
That's interesting, and you love to hear that from some of these guys. And how truthful is that? These are young guys that could have a lot of influence on them. I don't know, But at the end of the day, I think it's just dope that they even have those things kind of in place, that he at least feels confident enough to express that. So now we've been here long enough. Let's go ahead and hear from Colorado with these quick clips, and then we're going to go right into Fran Brown, really exposing it and putting things on the table when it comes to NIL.
Anybody got anything they want to say? Anybody got anything they want to get off their chest before we get started? Anybody? Anything? Anybody? Everybody quiet? Anybody planning on using us, get on national TV, and jump in the portal? We're going to get that out of the way right now. Because I'd rather you go instead of trying to use us to jump in the portal after you play on national television. Anybody? Going once? Anybody? You know what I'm saying is already know. You do know that, right?
Hey, man, this is before the spring game. Clearly, Deion Sanders knows that there are some people that are finna hop in that portal right after the game. And he's just letting them know, man. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of a psych out tactic, because that's what that is. But here he is talking about Virginia some more at a press conference.
We got some tremendous guys identified that's in the portal that we felt like we're going to be in the portal. We don't jump the gun on that stuff, because the last thing I want to hear is my name associated with tampering or anything like they do our kids. We got contracts. I mean, we got some schools so stupid they give kids contracts, but they're still here. I don't understand that whatsoever. Like, Ncaa, y'all got to do something, man. Don't just sit there on your hands and open them up and so everybody could grease you during palms and make a ton of money off everybody and don't have nothing to say about nothing. I don't understand that part. But portals is going to be good to us. I think we have several players coming this weekend, which I'm excited to see, along with what we already have in-house.
Wow, I don't know how you can get any more direct than that. But hey, he's feeling some type of way. But let's hear about Fran Brown, because his comments, he's the new guy. He's like the new cool guy on the block. You know, he's witty. He shows a lot of humility. He seems to connect with his players very well, and then he can also talk. You know, he's got the gift of the gab, so he's very entertaining, as well as someone who's, I think, going to be a shining star in the world of college football. So let's hear it from him and how he feels about the situation.
Like, they had to move on, and we just got to still build it. You see on the back of the world behind me, you see all those great players that play here. Yeah, they ain't all play together. It wasn't all on one football team.
Coach, you know, you mentioned it earlier, but, you know, I think a part of the fan base is worried about, you are comfortable where Syracuse is with NIL, and that didn't play into it?
No. We was going to come out. It didn't play into it at all, but, like, sometimes people be asking for an outrageous number, like, right? You're not about to make more than every coordinator and all. Like, man, like, stop. I ain't... With all due respect to everybody in the country, to every wide receiver, to everybody that's doing all this stuff, like, if you're gonna make $2 million at wide receiver, that's to blow a homie over at Ohio State. Ain't nobody else making that money. Giving no wide receiver no $2 million, man, in college. Nah, that ain't me. I ain't doing that. I can't do it. Unless they tell me that we get a chance to have Travis Hunter, he could come back to college and he could come here and play for us, then he gonna get some of my check. But I ain't paying nobody $2,000 this year. Not to me. $2 million, whatever. I just say, yeah, we ain't giving nobody that.
How are the players handling this, Coach? Because, you know, we see a lot of guys hit the portal. We generally don't see, you know, a guy who's going to be a team captain and play a sixth year, as you mentioned, hit the portal. How are the players handling the news?
Shit, we had a good walkthrough yesterday. We had good practice and stuff, good meetings. I mean, the receivers are... I mean, that's their boy, right? So, like, this is a friend. This is my little brother, right? I'm the head coach. Like, dang, that's messed up. Trev ain't going to be here. But we a next man move. Like, yo, all right, who next, yo? What's up? Like, as a wide receiver, how you think that Justice Ross Simmons or Emmanuel Ross or Lil Booby, like, how do you think they feel that somebody who had 90 catches is gone and you're a wide out and you're competitive with the culture that I create here, right? That we create. I hate saying that's like selfish. With the culture that we're creating here at Syracuse, how would you feel if the Sports Center just had a guy leave, like, and you next up?
Yeah.
Hey, man, well, better
your opportunity.
Yeah, I'm holler at him, man. That was good. We still gonna text you. You know what I mean? Hit you up. Like, we wish you the best. But we still got to move on. We still going to play a game, the first game of the year. You know, we still going to have practice today. Like, we'll still do all those things, right? So we're focused, man. Everybody going to practice hard. We're going to have a good practice. Look, we get an opportunity today. We're going down to Rochester and practice because that's a huge fan base for us. That's a huge spot where recruiting and things of that nature. So we're going down there, and I got us on yellow buses. Just like a little league day for us, right? We're going on yellow buses. The offense have some better beats than defense have, and we're going to see who passed the loudest when we pull up, just like it was when you play little league football. So, I mean, everything is still in motion. Like nothing stopped, right? I mean, nothing stopped. Like we're still going to play. Now, there's offensive linemen, right? Those guys are premium, right? You can't, different offensive line. Mark Petrie's still here, right? I'm excited about that. Like Weatherspoon still. We got Trey Mack. We still got all those guys on the line. Byron Washington. Those dudes didn't come in and say they were leaving, right? Because like O-line, that is what changes the game, right? It's not that hard all the time to find a guy that is like 5'9", like 180 pounds, right, to go out and play football. And because different things happen a lot, right? It's a lot of those people in the world, but there's not a lot of big linemen. I was taught before, like, linemen are premium, right? It's hard to find them, so they come different. As long as we keep the line, right? Enrique Cruz and those guys are still here, then we're going to be fine. We got other guys. We got a freshman about to come who went to school around the corner that ran a 10.5. I mean, he's a lot faster. I'm not saying he's as mature as Trevor is right now, but when you go look at all the speed we brung on the team and things of that nature and stuff like that, so, like, we'll be fine. I mean, it's the same offense, similar to what they ran at Oregon, right? And all those guys did extremely well in college. And they go to the next level, it's just a little bit different, right? So, like, the system is set up, man. It's a real good system that's set to have 3 to 4 guys always get a lot of yards. Like, who was our number one threat last year, guys? Who would you say the number one threat was for us?
I mean, you had Trevor, you had Jackson Meeks, you had Aronde Gatson, you had LeQuint in the backfield. You had a lot of weapons.
You still had Gill, who had these yards. You had all the people. Yeah. So when you're looking at all that, Amari Hatcher, who was starting X early on and ended up getting hurt, and Meeks eventually they competed and moved that out. So I'm saying that to say we're gonna have 4 guys this year again do extremely well when it comes to what we do.
Coach, you mentioned your system, and I did want to ask you about, like, it seems like what you said scared Trevor should be a good selling point, isn't it? You put Aronde in the league, your offensive coordinator was getting a sniff from the NFL. Isn't that a selling point now for players coming into the portal? That Kyle McCord, what he did in his first year for you guys.
That's what I said. And I pushed that and I went through there. But sometimes when you're young and you feel like, this is my last opportunity, I got to go with a guy that could do different. Or you might not think that Ricky is the guy, right? Like, because I'm very transparent. I'm not sure how Ricky going to be good. He's super talented, but like, would he be good next year and not this year? Hey, that ain't your but that ain't your freaking job to be thinking that. I ain't got time for you to be doing all that stuff. Like, go ahead, man. There's a reason.
Man, this interview is dope. Fran Brown is even doper. Again, he's going a little deeper on to, actual personnel things, but I think it's great. And I don't think I had the clip in here, but there's a clip, like a funny clip where he's like, man, I'm afraid that my son's about to hop in the transfer portal. But he's super dope. You need to watch the interview because how uncomfortable some of these interviewers are. I'm not going to say why they're uncomfortable, but clearly he talks a language that they're not as familiar with understanding. He dropped F-bombs on accident. Like, that was dope. But what I really want to talk about to extrapolate specifically from that interview is the mindset of the transfer portal, okay? And more specifically, the different perspectives of that mindset and what that does. We talk so much about people in the portal, XYZ, and I shared the stat with you on a few videos back that they're, at least on the first day, who knows how many are now, but on the first day, there were over 1,000 players who entered the transfer portal. And you have to understand that's not counting the players that were left in the portal in the fall because everybody don't find a team. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people just going to be stuck in limbo. You feel me? 1,000 players. I don't know. I'm not the best counter, but I don't think there's 1,000 D1 teams. I don't think there's 1,000 combined D1, D2, and NAIA, whatever, FCS team. I don't think so. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you don't literally have to have 1,000, but you get you get the point I'm saying. It ain't enough. It ain't enough space on these boats, especially with freshmen and XYZ and all this other stuff. Like, so think about it from that perspective. And then the first thing I always thought about, you know, because when I went to school, you know, you have your foreign exchange students, and depending on, you know, what your school specializes in, you're going to see more of X type of exchange student, right? That's also happening in athletics, right? You have, you know, your Aussies, your whatever, your kickers who come from different places. I think that cuts down there. You know what I'm saying? Because of the portal too. And then on top of that, what he was speaking to, which is what I think is something that no one speaks to, is the benefit of having somebody leave the portal, like, get up off my team. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes there can be a fire if everybody's looking for an opportunity, right? Because it was always painted, especially last year. Obviously, things are different, but everybody's leaving. Oh my God, does that mean the whole team's gonna leave? Does that mean everybody's gone? But it's like at some point, somebody's gonna have to be like, oh, like look around and be like, oh wait, I ain't got no more competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can take advantage of this opportunity. I think that was a dope part to kind of think about, because that's not something that I talk about a lot. And I think more people need to talk about. As much as we can talk about the portal being this big bad wolf, right? I think we need to also think about what it allows. It allows some people to get some shine that maybe they didn't have to shine, buried on your roster. And that's why it's so important to have players that are committed, right? That's why now, because a lot of people have this aspiration or this thought process that once we go heavy NIL, once we go XYZ, that money rules all, you know what I'm saying? And we are starting to see that. We are starting to see the people with the big pocketbooks are ruling all. But the consistency comes from who can build a true program, who can build a system. Ohio State, they got plenty of money. They got plenty of, but that money also allows them to take a step back. And then also within this, because ain't nobody worried about money over there. Like, there is no somebody's getting paid more. There's no other school you can go to with technically you can go to another school with a bigger bag. But when you talk about the bag plus excellence plus opportunity, right? When you talk about the Ohio States, the Oregons, the Michigans, those big schools with big pocketbooks, you can't beat them. You're probably gonna get the same number, if not, a number here, number lost, and it really is gonna start coming down to, at these top levels of schools, can you build a culture? Can you bring in a Bill Belichick? Can you bring in a Deion Sanders that can relate to people? Can you bring in a Fran Brown who seems to be really connecting with these young folks and turning around and bringing more relevance to a Syracuse team that hasn't seen a lot of bright spots since Carmelo Anthony, to be honest with you? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's been a while. It's been a second. But lots of exposure, lots of exposing happened in the world of NIL. I think Ncaa kind of kicked up the re-interest in this. I knew during the transfer portal and NIL go hand in hand, and I knew as soon as the portal opened, we're going to be able to talk about NIL. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, if y'all can tell on my channel. The highest non-Deion Sanders stuff is portal stuff and NIL stuff. Now, I don't think that's only because y'all are more interested. I mean, I know that's a big reason for it, but it's because I'm very interested and I get very passionate about it. I think it's an interesting conversation. And I think that people like Fran Brown, people like Bill Belichick, people like Deshaun Jackson, Michael Vick out there at his school, they're going to find a lot of opportunities and availability to get advantages in different ways that don't just have to involve money. And there's plenty of crazy stories about high schools and NIL. You got people signing paperwork, and then papers necessary into the transfer portal. He resurfaced yesterday that he was expected to sign an NIL agreement to make a return to Florida, but he's in the portal. You got people assuming that there's some brazen tampering. There's a lot of craziness happening in the world of college football. So if you want to be locked in, if you want to know that, if you want me to go deeper in on these stories, like the video if you like it. Comment down below if this is what you want to see. Subscribe if you want to see more college football content. You know I do plenty of Deion Sanders content. NIL, transfer portal. We got the draft coming up. I'll be covering that. Lots of fun stuff, man. So just like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe. I told you that again. I told you twice because it's nice, but not nice as you. You're amazing. You're great. Go be great. We'll see you next time.